Thermal Soundwaves.
Welcome. I am C.Truth. It's Thermal Soundwaves. We are here. I have a very, very special guest that's going to be joining me today. Extremely talented on the dance tip, choreography, business, creative, artful, a whole bunch of other adjectives that I could use and that I could name. A list of credits that are extremely, extremely too numerous to mention. So we're going to bring in this talented individual, a great woman. She is a lady on stage and in real life. We have Nubian Néné joining me here today. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Great, great to have you here, and great to let the world find out some things about you and know about you. We met at the Conchel International Film Festival this year, which was a great thing, great event, and off top style just was apparent, noticeable, like from the jump. When I was talking to you on the red carpet, it was like, wow, this is like really, really unique or dope. Like just put together, like the way you did your thing with that. So I got to give you props for that as well. But you are known for doing things on the dance tip. You've created movements. You have a dance company called A Lady in the House Dance Company, and you also spearhead something that's called Waacking. Is that the proper title? Is that how you how do you how, am I saying it right? Getting it right?
Yes, you are saying it right, although I didn't spearhead it.
Okay.
Whacking has been around for about 50 years. It was born in the underground clubs in Los Angeles, California. In the Black and Brown communities. It's been seen on stage with different artists such as Jody Watley, who is actually a whacker, and from Diana Ross also, and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, so I didn't spearhead it. You know, my ancestors would be rolling in their in their
Okay.
gasket if they heard this. But yes, I it's one of the styles of dance that I practice and I teach and I play with.
Beautiful, beautiful. And that was my mistake, my ignorance. So, but this is why you're here, so we can get to know about these things and learn these. Now, is crumping, is that the derivative from whacking?
From whacking? No.
No?
So crumping is probably the youngest street dance styles around, and it's about a little over 20 years. And so, and stillborn, yes, from California. It's derivative, and you could quote me on what I'm about to say, but it's better to speak to people that are actually studying the dances, the Krump dance anyway. But it stems from this dance that still is called clowning, and that evolved into crumping. But crump and whacking, two different worlds, not even close to each other
Got you.
except for the city that it was born in.
Right, right. So, what got you into the whole dance art form to begin with? Like, where did that all start for you? Were you always like interested in that, or did you just get gravitated towards it at some point?
I usually tell people that I got into dance, probably getting to my mom's belly, just because my mom is she's not a professional dancer. She's been someone who's always loved film and movies. I'm sorry, I said film. I meant to say dancing and music and gathering people. When I was a kid, she used to be the mom that would organize the events, like, you know, first communion or just people over. And then so she's always loved dancing and everything that's in the art, but she never really got into it. She never became that as a profession. The reality of her time, and I'll, skip her not jumping into that. But so yeah, so when I was a kid, she used to do these meetings with community meetings, and they used to happen in community centers. And I used to go with my cousin, and I started seeing young ladies, young teenage girls that used to come together at that community center also and started practicing traditional folkloric Haitian dances. And so, it was a weekly basis. So then I've spent a lot of time, there, to the point that these same girls had asked my cousin and I to be part of their performances that they were preparing. That's how much we were just following the flow of their practice or their rehearsal. And then a little later after that, my mom put me in classical and in jazz. And so that now was the thing that I was doing as a kid until probably the age of 12. That's when
Hmm.
I started, high school. And from that point, I then found a group of friends who were also interested in doing some more dance. And I picked it up again around 14ish, and then started doing talent shows at school. And
Yes.
then that led me into a few years later auditioning for this dance, I would say dance troupe. And so I did that and I got in, and then I met other bunch of dancers, which now led me to wanting to do more dance. And one of the girls that I had met back in that time, her sister was teaching at this community center, and she used to go every weekend, just to be with her sister and whatever, whatnot. And then we were looking at, by that time, I'm part of this group called Brown Sugar, and we wanted to add more, styles into the things that we were doing. And then so that was actually my entry point into the life that I now live, where the dancers were doing breaking, locking, popping. Typically a lot of different street dances, American street dances, because there's not only American, there's no street dances, not only for American dances.
Absolutely. It's Thermal Soundwaves. I'm C.Truth. We're here with Nubian Néné, founder, choreographer, dancer, artist, creative overall. She does a lot of different things. You've performed all across the world in different areas, different places. What are some of the differences with the acceptance of art in, let's say, a Montreal versus a US versus Oslo versus a Finland or Germany?
I have yet to go to Finland. I haven't been to Finland yet, but everywhere else you've mentioned, I've been. So I I think, okay, so first of all, a lot of the dances that are popular today are Black American dances. They come from the continuum of what now formed the Black American people when the enslaved came here. They came together, and then what was being created as music and dance at the time is the beginning, the ground zero of what we know as Krump or Waacking or voguing or a bunch of other dances. And then, so when you're in the United States, it's a very unique place to be because you're part of culture. You're part of the continuum. You will run into people that are well into their 70s, 80s, 60s that can talk to you about dances that maybe they're not practicing anymore. They're not seeing as much, but you're in the thing, right? Now, when you travel to other places and we're talking about these specific styles, it's not the same. You will have generations that are not as close as they're closely, they're as they're maybe not as close as the beginning of some of these styles. So if I take, let's say, whacking, whacking starts, it's underground. A lot of the still American people don't know what whacking is. It was very, it's very not known. And then so, but at the time of whacking being born, there's people that were traveling, they were taking flights, they were coming to LA, to Hollywood, they were going to the club. So there are people that may have been present at the time where this form of dance was being created. And so, you know, they bring it back home, but it's never going to be the same as if it was in the United States. Now, the difference now between elsewhere in the US on the tip of accessibility, or we are in a capitalist country, a capitalist idea. A lot of these places that you've named, from Germany to Montreal to Norway, are social spaces where, you know, like the taxpayer pays a little bit more taxes, but has a little bit more access to maybe some funding for the arts. Or like I've traveled to a lot of these places, and they're able to create these amazing festivals or these amazing events. And I'm not saying with less resources, but just because a lot of these places are really into the new thing, or, oh yeah, let's bring this in, you know. And so like they'll be able to actually foster that. Whereas in the United States, you know, the conversation amongst us event producers, organizers, it's tougher, you know what I mean? Like just wanting to rent a space, you know, in order for you to have your event costs a little bit more money. And then so it becomes a little bit less, I don't want to use the word easy, just different, you know what I mean? Like once you are in the United States, you will gain a lot of things that you might never gain elsewhere. And once you go elsewhere, you might be able to experience certain things that you wish you could experience back in the States, but it makes it a little harder in terms of money. Or and also, you know, it's the same as music. There's so many musicians that are king and queen outside of their
Right.
birth or a home country. But once you're home, it's like I said, like whacking, what do you mean? I don't know this. Or breaking and break dancing, and you know, like it's still around. Like, and it's like, you know, we kind of like have lost a little bit the understanding of our history in terms of dancing when I say this.
Absolutely. You put on shows, which I've had the opportunity to see things like Alvin Ailey, right? 3 times in my lifetime.
Wow.
Extremely extravagant, amazing shows that put on stories with dance. And you do something on that scale, that level, right? You put on stories with dance.
Oof,
Do you?
I
Is
do.
that, and you have something coming called Traceable, right? Is that one of?
Yes.
Talk to us about the area of you putting on stories through dance, which is an incredible thing to see. If you haven't experienced that on some level, it's amazing to see something like that.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I think so I'm okay. The work that I'm about to present in January, it's to be premiered in January 2015, 2025, 2015, 2025, is comes from like a long time, a few years of me just needing to regroup, to I had a few years that I was really just like producing work, and just like had a few ideas in my brain, and or I heard some music and I was just wanting to create something with it. And then like 2018 ish came around, and I was like, oh, I need to take a break. I want to take a break from creating. I want to take a back seat. I want to sit in people's processes. I want to be able to see how people flow, how choreographers choreograph, how people use storytelling, or use how do they manage to bring a story to life, et cetera, et cetera. And then so after a couple of years of doing that, I then, you know, was able to receive a few residencies. And a residencies, for people that are listening that don't know what it is, in dance anyway, it's a place where you could go in, you know, for a certain amount of time, and you're just a resident. So you kind of quote unquote live there, and you're able to do the work. And then so I got a few of those, and then that got my brain thinking, because when I got them, I still didn't know what I wanted to do. I just was like, oh, I have space and time. Maybe I just should just use the space and time to figure out what I want to create and how I want to create it. And then so the process of that led me to understand that first of all, I am more than a dancer. I do visual art, and I've been doing visual art for a very long time, since I was a kid, actually. And I got caught up with dance and kind of put that on the back burner without me realizing that I was putting it on a back burner. And then so that time that I got, it got me to think about how can I combine more of my talents into quote unquote the main thing that I like to do, which is dancing. And then so I now have come up with Traceable, and Traceable is uh I'm kind of like touching the idea that like how mental health can affect your creativity, and how does it affect it. Um, Often when we think of mental health, we think of something negative, but I'm not necessarily talking about it negatively, because I think that whatever I deal with my mental health issues, that it is anxiety or um, overthinking or a bunch of different things, it it can hinder, but also can open opportunities to something else. And then
Mhm.
so I wanted to use that, use the fact that even though we're going through traumatic experiences, beautiful experiences, how do these things actually help, hinder, influence, don't influence the work?
Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, we're running out of time, so I want to
Oh, this is
let
a
you.
short. I thought it was going to be
Yeah, yeah.
longer.
No, no, no. But don't worry. This is not the last time. This is just the first in many. We're going to have you back because there are definitely some other things and some other pieces that I want to expand on and get into and dive into. So it'll give people appetizer. We'll let people, munch a little bit, get a little taste,
I like
spur,
that.
get the palate going a little bit, and then we're gonna bring them back for some of the main courses of Nubian Néné as they've been introduced to some of the things that you do. Now you draw as well, right? Do you do art on canvas and things like that too?
Not on canvas. I do on paper, a lot of notebooks. And today I just actually started the process of doing a grander scale drawing. I went to architecture school, so like drawing details and all of that is my thing. But I'm not doing architectural drawing right now. So, yeah, I draw.
Beautiful, beautiful, definitely. And from what you were talking about with the mental health, I'm about not necessarily being a bad thing, but leading into other things that are greater. Like I'm reading a book right now called "Y'all Not Gonna Make Me Lose My Mind" by uh, Amelia O'Toole, or Emily MC is her actual performance name, and she deals with on her life journey about different things that she's gone through and how that's opened up into greater and bigger things. So it's just great how you was talking about that. And I was like, oh, I'm reading a book that's kind of relating to that, right now. So exactly, exactly. That's how the universe works, y'all.
Yes, stars
Organically,
align.
organically, yes, indeed. So tell people where they can find out more about you, and of course, be get updated on Traceable and when that's coming out and when that's going to be and where it's going to be, so they can come out and see that.
Okay, so you could find me on Instagram with Nubian Nene, Nubiannene. I also, my company's page is A Lady in the House Co. on Instagram. And then Traceable is happening January 15th to the 18th, but it's happening in Montreal, Canada. And there's a specificity why. It's because that's my hometown. And when it comes to this type of work, I felt it was really important for me to premiere it home. And then so it's happening in January 2025 in Montreal. And hopefully it's going to happen sometime in New York for sure. But yeah, that's how you can find me.
Definitely, definitely. Well, thank you for coming through, stopping by, and we're going to have you back, of course. And we definitely love to see some of the things that you're doing. Make sure you follow her on Instagram, Nubian Néné, and of course, a lady in the house, Cole. also on Instagram to see some of the things that she's done and some of the moves that she's done. Like, and there's a thing real quickly. What's that performance where it's like you versus somebody else? Those events. What are those
Oh,
called?
battles, dance competitions,
Dance competition. Yeah,
or
you.
battles in the community. We usually say battles, but yeah,
Yeah, make sure y'all check those out too to see those
yes.
particular like events. It's amazing, amazing to see. Well, definitely. Again, thank you, and we're gonna have you back real soon. We'll probably do something before Traceable, so
That's great.
we'll get everything aligned with that. And thank you.
I'm
Appreciate
looking
you coming
forward to
through.
it.
Yes,
Thank you,
indeed.
C.Truth.
No problem. Have a lovely, lovely, glorious day and evening.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Yes. It's Thermal Soundwaves, y'all. C.Truth. We are here. Make sure you check me out. Thermalsoundwaves.com is where you go for all the links and for everything else. And until next time, I say peace.
Thermal Soundwave.